Welcome to the channel of Sir D, where various subjects about the society are discussed, like politics and governance, biblical theology, and criminal justice education, especially in the area of criminology. So once again, this is Darlito Bernard Delizo, welcoming you to the topic nationalism and patriotism. And for this video, we are going to trace the development of Philippine nationalism by looking at the prominent people and their contribution that led to the nationalistic spirit of the Philippines. But first thing first, let's take a look on the wisdom coming from the Lord in relation to nationalism and patriotism. In Psalm 32, verse 12, the Lord said to the nation of Israel, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom He has chosen as His heritage." So, blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. So, mapalad ang bansa na ang kanyang Diyos ay ang Panginoon. So, He's referring to Him, and He's referring actually to the nation of Israel. And you might be asking, na paano yan? Hindi naman tayo ang bansang Israel. Of course, we can read and understand in the New Testament that those who believe and accepted the Lord Jesus Christ automatically become the spiritual Israel. So ang sabi ng Panginoon, the people whom He has chosen as His heritage. So sila yung kanyang mga pinili at sila yung mga magiging tagapagmana ng ating Panginoon. So ang Pilipinas is actually a chosen country or a chosen nation of the Lord. The name Philippines is taken from the name of King Philip, and the name of King Philip was taken from one of the greatest evangelists in the New Testament, and that is the Apostle Philip. No? So kilala natin si Philip sa Book of Acts na siya yung isang matapang na tagapagsalita at tagapagpahayag ng good news or ng ebanghelyo ng ating Panginoon na ang kaligtasan ay ang ating Panginoong Hesus. So therefore, the word Philippines ay nagre-refer ito sa mga sa bansa na nagkikerry ng good news. And tinatawag natin na incidentally, the Philippines was the only Christian nation in Asia. Kaya yung pangalan pa lamang ng Philippines ay carried na niya yung pangalan ng gospel or carried na niya ang pangalan ng ating Panginoon Hesus through the name Philip, which is the greatest, one of the greatest evangelists in the New Testament. Okay? Kaya mapalad ang Pilipinas kapag siya ang ating naging Diyos or kapag tayo nananampalataya sa Kanya, sabi niya tayo magiging tagapagmana ng ating Panginoon. Now let's move on. In the development of the nationalism in the country, we cannot avoid to discuss or mention the name of Dr. Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. He said that I have always loved my poor country, and I am sure that I shall love her until death. If by chance men are unjust to me, and I shall enjoy the happy life, contented in the thoughts that all that I have suffered, my past, my present, and my future, my life, my love, my pleasures, I have sacrificed all of this for love of her. Happen what may, I shall die blessing her and desiring the dawn of her redemption. So yun ang sabi niya, na sa buong puso, buong kaluluwa, at buong kalakasan niya ay ang kanyang mamahalin ng kanyang bansang Pilipinas. So eventually, yung kanyang mga writings ay isa sa mga nag-influensya, or if not, the most influential works, literary works in the Philippines in the 19th century that paved way for the establishment of the propaganda movement in the country. So again, Dr. Jose Perizal, considered as the most outstanding among the propagandists. And he was shot to death by a firing squad at Pagumbayan on December 30, 1896, and we know that already. And he started in 1889 the newspaper La Solidaridad or Solidarity, which means pag sinabing solidarity, ito yung pagkakaisa, sulit, ito yung pagkakaisa, which was the medium of propaganda movement. Okay? So siya ang nagpasimuno or siya ang nanguna doon sa La Solidaridad. Okay? Then later on, marami na ang nag-contribute sa La Solidaridad because ito ngayon yung naging medium or meaning ito yung naging kaparaanan ng propaganda movement upang ipahayag ang nasyonalismo at patriotismo sa mga unang Pilipino. So ano nga ba ang propaganda? Propaganda is any information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. So propaganda. So ito yung mga kaparaanan na ginagamit, no, upang ma-promote or ma-publicize, meaning may paalam sa tao ang mga political issues. Okay, and during the time of the propaganda movement in the Philippines, ang pinaka-political issue noon is yung abuses committed by the Spanish government and the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, so eventually ang gusto lang nila nung una ay magkaroon ng reforma doon sa pamamaraan ng Spanish government sa Pilipinas, in which masyadong malakas yung impluwensya ng church or the Roman Catholic Church at the time. Okay, and eventually it led to we call it an armed revolution against the Spanish government. So the propaganda movement was we call it a movement during the 19th century, okay, where they are trying to we call it promotes reform and national consciousness movement, okay, that arose among young Filipino expatriates in the late 19th century. So take note, mga Filipino expatriates. Sino mga yan? Yan yung mga medyo mayayaman na mga Filipino na nakapunta sa Europa, nakapunta sa iba't ibang bansa at nakita nila, namulat sila doon sa espiritu ng nationalism because they found out in Europe na marami ng mga bansa doon ang mga Malaya. So somehow ay nagkaroon din sila ng aspiration na sana ang aming bansang Pilipinas ay magiging Malaya rin, na sana ang aming bansang Pilipinas ay marireforma rin. Okay? So mga expatriates ang tawag natin yon. Okay, so further, we know that Dr. Jose Rizal's revolution was through the endpoint. Okay, so these are some of the literary works of Jose Rizal: the Noli Me Tangere, the El Filibusterismo, the Indolence of the Filipinos, Philippines as a century hence, to the Filipino youth, Mi Ultimo Diyos, and the organization of the La Liga Filipina or the League of the Philippines. So the Noli Me Tangere, Latin for Tax Minute, is an 1887 novel by Jose Rizal during the colonization of the Philippines by the Spanish Empire to describe perceived iniquities of the Spanish Catholic friars and the ruling government. So ito dinaan niya sa kwento, dinaan niya sa nobela na may mga hindi tamang pamamaraan na ginawa or ginagawa ng mga pare ng Roman Catholic at yung ruling government, the civilian and military government of the Spanish in the country before. Well, there were, we call it, there were opinions that somehow Jose Rizal was exposed to the teachings of the Protestant. Kaya somehow, sa mga teachings ng Protestants ay nakita rin niya na talaga nga na mayroong mga perceived iniquities or mga corruption na ginagawa ng ruling government in cahoots with the Catholic administration in the country during the time. So, dinaan na lang niya ito sa nobela. Then further, merong sumunod na sequel or chapter 2 or next na kabanata ng Noli Me Tangere, yung El Filibusterismo. Okay? So the alternative English title could be The Reign of Greed or the subversive or the subversion, okay, as translated by the Locsin English, okay? And so these are the possible translation of the word el filibusterismo. So somehow dito, medyo yung no limitang hire ay kumbaga sinasaad lamang doon, okay, in a subtle way, yung mga ginagawang kalokohan ng ruling government with in cahoots with the Roman Catholic leadership at the time. But dito sa tawag natin sa El Filibusterismo ay medyo kumbaga nag-level up yung gustong mangyari ni Jose Rizal na somehow mayroong mga tawag nating mayroong aggressive or mayroong tinatawag nating more or less an armed conflict or shall we say armed revolution against the government, no? So the term there could be a rational thing like that. Oh, no. The term could be yung kumbaga nag-level up yung gusto ni Jose Rizal na somehow ay medyo may pag-aklas, no, na gagawin against the Spanish government. Okay, so he wrote this in 1891 in Ghent, a city in Belgium. So further, he also wrote an essay, The Indolence of the Filipino. So ito kasi paratang ng mga Spanish na tamad daw. Indolence is katamaran. No? Tamad daw yung mga Filipino, naghihintay lamang daw ng mga dole-outs. So maaring ang gano'n, no? Bansang Pilipinas, maraming tamad ngayon. No? But of course, when I say marami, hindi lahat ng Filipino. So we call it in response to that accusation, okay? This socio-political essay published in La Solidaridad in Madrid in 1890, it was written by Jose P. Rizal as a response to the accusation of inju or the Malay indolence. He admits the existence of indolence among the Filipinos, but it could be attributed to a number of reasons. So, ano yung mga possible reasons doon? Yung mga walang pag-asa, no? Walang kabuluhan yung ginagawa nila under the Spanish government. No? Kaya parang sinasabi niya na medyo nagiging tamad ang mga Pilipino kasi sa mga abusive ways ng Spanish government. So, pinagtanggol niya ang Pilipino doon. Sabi niya merong ang katamaran nangyari pero may mga reasons, and the reasons per se of course is yung failure ng Spanish government to provide sa economic well-being ng mga Filipino that time. Okay, so another essay written by Jose Rizal was The Philippines as a Century Hence, meaning after a century, ano ang magiging mukha ng Pilipinas? Okay, so he wrote it in the late 19th century. So Rizal tried to forecast the future of the country within 100 years. And he felt that it was time to remind Spain that the circumstances that ushered in the French Revolution could have a telling effect for her in the Philippines. Okay, so nakita ni na Jose P. Rizal, nakita ni Jose Rizal yung mga nangyaring mga revolution sa Europa. So sinasabi niya na ito mangyayari rin sa Pilipinas, no? Mangyayari rin. At merong effect ito kasi nalaman na ng mga Pilipino, ng mga expatriate na pwedeng to go against the colonizers. No? Ang mga colonizers noon, mga Britain, Spain, okay, Portugal, okay, yung mga colonizers during those times. So with that, sabi nila pwedeng mangyari ito. So nagkaroon siya ng forecasting of what will happen to the Philippines 100 years after his time. Then another thing, another literature work of Jose Rizal was to the Filipino youth. Okay, ano ito? He praised the benefits that Spain had bestowed upon the Philippines. Sabi niya, ako'y ina-appreciate ko, sabi niya, kinikilala ko ang nagawa ng bansang Espanya sa Pilipinas. Okay? And he depicted the renowned Spanish explorers, generals, and kings in the most patriotic manner. So sabi niya, sila'y napakatapang na upang makarating sa Pilipinas, mabigyan ng edukasyon ng mga Pilipino, at sa pamamagitan ng education na yan, okay, it became the breath of life, instilling charming virtue. So sabi niya, ito nga na nagbigay ng buhay sa mga Pilipino because with the education, natuto mga Filipino sa science and technology. Kaya nga si Jose Rizal ay naging Doctor of Medicine siya. So marami naging mga lawyers, marami mga naging doctors na namulat sila sa science and technology na galing sa bansang Europa and bansang Amerika. Kaya nagpapasalamat siya. Okay? And he actually wrote one of his Spanish teachers as having brought the light of the eternal splendor. So sabi niya, kayo ang nagbigay ng ilaw sa amin. Okay? Yung ilaw about the gospel about God, actually. However, in that particular essay, Jose Rizal made the Filipino youths as the protagonist. Sila yung bida. Okay? Na sinasabi niya, whose prodigious genius, making use of that education to build the future, was the bella esperanza de la patria mia, or the beautiful hope of the motherland. Eh sabi niya, ang mga kabataan ang pag-asa ng ating bayan. Kasi kapag educated yung mga tao, educated yung mga kabataan at sila ay malalaman nila yung mga nararapat para sa kanilang motherland, so sila ang magiging pag-asa ng bayan. Dahil matututunan nila na mahalin ang kanilang bansa, matututunan nila na magkaroon ng identity as one nation. So somehow, ito'y nakatulong din para may publicize or may parating sa mga Pilipino kay nung unang panahon na kailangan ng pagkakaisa, kailangan na paglabanan ang mga katiwalian ng Spanish government, including the church or the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? And of course, before he died, of course there were more writings of Jose Rizal. No? These are only some of the most prominent and influential writings and literary work of Rizal. And finally, before he died, he wrote the Mi Ultimo Adios, a poem written by Philippine national hero or Jose Rizal on the eve of his execution on 30 December 1896. In this poem, he was one of the last, or he on this poem was one of the last notes he wrote before his death. Another that he had written was found in his shoe, but because the text was illegible, his contents remains a mystery. So dito, sinasabi niya yung kanyang pagmamahal sa kanyang tawag natin yung kanyang bansang Pilipinas. Dito na niya sinasabi din yung pag-asa na nararapat sa ating bansang Pilipinas. So moving on further, he also organized the La Liga Filipina. So yung La Liga Filipina, at least hindi na lamang siya mag-isa. So lahat ng mga young expatriates ay nag-create sila ng secret organization. Founded by Rizal in the house of Doroteo Ongjongko at Ilaya Street, Tondo, Manila. The organization derived from La Solidaridad and the propaganda movement. So meaning, sila na ngayon ang bumuo ng La Solidaridad na sinimulan ni Jose Rizal. Okay? At sila ngayon ang, kumbaga, nakatulong na kay Jose Rizal na ipropaganda. Kaya naging propagandist sila para may pakilala sa mga Filipino yung kinakailangang pagkakaisa, pagkakaroon ng identity as Filipinos at pagkakaroon ng desire upang mapalaya sa bansang Espanya. Okay, so during the propaganda movement, because it is it was a secret organization, so hindi pwedeng gagamit ng actual names yung mga expatriate na mga ito, yung mga propagandist na ito. So somehow gumamit sila ng mga iba't ibang pen names or mga pseudonames na tinatawag natin. So Rizal was known as the Dimasalang and the Laonglaan. Mariano Ponce was known as the Tikbalang or the Naning and Kalipulaco. And Antonio Lona was known as the Tagailog. Marcelo del Pilar was prominent in his pen name as Plaridel, and Jose Maria Panganiban as Joe Mapa. So Graciano Lopez Haina, in 1889, he established La Solidaridad in Barcelona. So in other words, nag-branch out yung pinasimulan ni Jose Rizal dito sa Pilipinas na La Solidaridad ay nagkaroon ngayon ng host doon sa Barcelona, Spain. And it was Graciano Lopez Haina, okay, ang nag-establish ng La Solidaridad sa Barcelona. So he was a Filipino journalist and orator, revolutionary and national hero who is well known for his newspaper also. That is the La Solidaridad in Barcelona. So, but it was started by Jose Rizal in the Philippines. Okay, so Philippine historians regard Lopez Haina, along with Marcelo H. del Pilar and Jose Rizal, as the triumvirate of Filipino propagandists because of the collaborations of their works and literary works that eventually inflame the spirit of the Filipinos to have that spirit of nationalism to seek, okay, independence against the Spanish government. So we have Marcelo H. del Pilar. He was a political analyst of the propaganda movement and the greatest journalist produced by the Filipino race. He was the editor of the La Solidaridad. And some of his literatures that were written supporting the propaganda movement were the Diaryong Tagalog, Kaiingat Kayo, La Freilocracia in Filipinas, Dasalan at Tuksuhan, and La Sobrenya Monakal, Dudas or Doubts, pasyong dapat ipag-alab ng taong babasa, Dukluhan, Sagot ng Espanya sa hibik ng Pilipinas, and Kadakilaan ng Diyos. So these are only some of his writings that supported the propaganda movement during his time. So ang Diaryong Tagalog ay isang makabayang pahayagan na sa wikang Tagalog at Espanyol noong panahon ng pananakop ng Espanya sa Pilipinas. So it was established by Marcelo del Pilar in 1882 at tinustusan naman ni Francisco Calvo ang pagpapalimbag ng pahayagan. In other words, it was supported. The money was given by Francisco Calvo so that ito ay maipublish. Ang Diaryong Tagalog ang unang naglathala ng mga kaisipang nag-uudyok ng reforma sa pamahalaan at tumuligsa sa pang-aabuso ng mga praile. Okay, so ito yung unang Tagalog paper. Kasi nga, ang ginagamit nila noon na medium ay Spanish. Kasi yun ang national language during the Spanish time. So, the Diaryong Tagalog, ito nga yung unang dyaryo na sa wikang Tagalog na nagamit upang ipahayag or to publish, to let the people know the abuses, okay, of the priests and the Roman Catholics and the Spanish government. Okay? However, this Diaryong Tagalog lasted only for 5 months. Okay? At again, kaingat kayo. Okay, kaingat kayo sa mga masasamang libro at kasulatan. Okay? So, Father Jose Rodriguez, an Augustinian priest, isang pari ito, he authored a pamphlet entitled Kaiingat Kayo. Okay? Or Kaingat Kayo sa mga masasamang libro. Okay? Masasamang libro at kasulatan. In other words, nalaman somehow ng mga Spanish priests na merong tumutulig sa kanilang mga grupo. Kaya itong si Father Jose Rodriguez na ito ay sumulat siya ng pamphlet para pagsabihan niya yung mga paroko niya, yung mga parokya na or mga nag-attend sa church na mag-ingat sila sa mga kasulatan na lumalabas, no? Mga kasulatan na nag-uudyok sa mga tao at nagsasabi na masama ang mga pari at ginagawa ng government ng Espanya. Okay? So, the friar warned the Filipinos that in reading Rizal's Noli Me Tangere, they commit mortal sin. On August 3 of the same year, Del Pilar wrote, Kaiigat kayo. Okay? Be as slippery as an eel. So, yung kaingat, ginawa niyang kaiigat. No? Kaiigat, meaning, alam yung igat, no? The eel, madulas ito. So, it was a reply to Rodriguez, kaingat kayo. So, sabi niya, ito, kaiigat kayo. So, be as slippery as an eel. Dapat madulas kayo. Para hindi kayo mahuli, something like that. Then, the La Freilocracia. La Freilocracia means, say for example, democracia. The democracia or democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So, yung Freilocracia is actually a term used by Marcelo del Pilar that the government in the Philippines is actually controlled by the frailes or by the priests, no? Kinokontrol nila. Kasi during that time, mas mataas or mas maimpluwensya ang Roman Catholic kaysa government, no? During that time. Okay? So this pamphlet was written again by Marcelo H. del Pilar as an answer to a pamphlet entitled Los Frailes in Filipina, written by Spaniard. Okay? So there were arguments the much mooted problem of filibusterism. So yun yung mga sinasabi ng isang Spaniard about yung hindi na raw kailangan ang revolution. The much vaunted love of the friars for Spain na masyadong, kumbaga, yung pamumuno ng mga Espanyol sa Pilipinas ay yung interest ng Espanya ang namumuno, hindi yung interest ng mga parokyano or mga parokya dito sa Pilipinas or mga Filipino. Okay, and there were disagreement or the disagreement of Filipino civilization by the friars, and the influence of the friars on the Filipinos and the aspiration of the Filipinos. So these are the issues during that time. So sinagot ngayon ni Marcelo del Pilar na masyadong nangingibabaw yung pamumulitika at yung pakikialam ng mga Spanish priests sa ruling Spanish government to the point na nagkakaroon ng pag-aabuso sa mga Pilipino. So the dasalan at tuksuhan is actually trying to bully, no? Binubuli ni Marcelo del Pilar yung mga Spanish priests. Okay? So what is that dasalan at tuksuhan? It is a satire on the friars' hypocrisy, the licentiousness, and the cupidity, which consists of parodies of the sign of the cross, the act of contrition, the Lord's Prayer, the Hail Mary, and the other prayers of the Roman Catholics. Sabi niya, hindi nila tinutupad yung kanilang mga panalangin. Hindi nila tinutupad yung ginagawa nila. Kaya ang ginawa ni Marcelo del Pilar, gumawa siya ng bullying na mga prayers para iparating niya sa mga tao na ito ang tunay na nangyayari. Okay? An example of that would be like this, no? The ama namin. So he translated that ang amain namin. So yung amain namin, he was referring to the priest kasi tinatawag silang father. Okay? Kaya ang tawag niya sa kanila, mga amain namin. Okay? So amain, in Tagalog, that is not actually the true father, but he is standing as the father. So he was referring to the Spanish priest. Okay? So sabi niya, amain naming sumasakumbento ka. Sumpain ang ngalan mo, malayo sa amin ang kasakiman mo, kitlin ang liig mo dito sa lupa para nang sa langit. Saulan mo kami ngayon ng aming kaning inyong ina araw-araw at patawarin mo kami sa inyong pag-ungal para nang pagpapatawa mo kung kami nagkwakwaltahan. At huwag mo kaming ipahintulot sa inyong manunokso at iadya mo kami sa masasama mong dila. Amen. No? So marami pa yan. Yung Ave Maria, ginawa nilang Ave Maria, no? So niloloko niya or sa pamamagitan ng mga bullying na prayer na ito ay tinutulugsan niya yung mga illegal at mga immoral practices ng mga pare. Okay, so what else? The La Soberania Monacal, okay, by Marcelo del Pilar. The La Soberania Monacal in Filipinas or the Friar Supremacy in the Philippines. Okay, so sinasabi na rito na masyadong supreme, masyadong sila na ang nasusunod. Okay, so was among the first pamphlets Marcelo del Pilar wrote in Spain. So he wrote that in Spain. So del Pilar headed the political section of the Asociación Hispano-Filipina founded in Madrid by Filipinos and Spanish sympathizers for the purpose of agitating for colonial reform. So sabi niya, there must be a separation of the church and the state. No? Yun ang sinasabi niya, hindi dapat yung mga pare ang supreme sa bansang Pilipinas. So because of that, no, when he headed the political section of the Asociación Hispano-Filipina founded in Madrid, okay, so ang purpose nila is para ma-agitate, okay, nang magkaroon ng colonial reforms or yung pananakop ng mga tao or ng mga Espanyol sa kanila. Then of course, he wrote also the pasyong dapat ipag-alab ng taong babasa. Or in English, the passion that should inflame the heart of the reader. Again, it was wrote by M.S. del Pilar in Barcelona in 1888. And he recounts again the abuses of the friars. And he concludes that the friars are kind and loving to the parishioners only when a parishioner is rich and submissive. Sabi niya, matapang, abusive ang mga friar. Okay? At pero sila'y mabait at mapagmahal kapag yung Filipino na nag-attend sa kanyang church ay mayaman at sunod-sunuran. Okay? So, almost ang mga ito ay kaparihas din sa mga nakalagay sa Noli Me Tangere at saka El Filibusterissimo ni Jose Rizal. And then, he also wrote the Dukluhan, Dalit at Mga Bugtong, a poetic contest in narrative sequence, psalms, and riddles. A compilation of poems on the operation by the priest in the Philippines. So ito naman, mga poems ito. Okay, mga tula ito. Okay, na kumbaga, lahat ito ay tumutulig sa mga Espanyol. Okay, lalong-lalo sa mga pare. Okay, and then he has that sagot ng Espanya sa hibik ng Pilipinas or the Spain's reply to the cry of the Philippines. So, sinasabi niya na ano ang naging tugon ng Spanish doon sa iyak ng mga Pilipino okay, about the need for social reform. Okay? So, ito rin ay isang kasagutan din o sinagot din ito ni Andres Bonifacio sa kanyang sulat na ang walang katapusang hibik ng Pilipinas. Okay? So, in this poem, pleading for change from Spain, but that Spain is already old and weak to grant any aid to the Philippines. Okay? This poem is in answer to that of Hermenegildo Flores Hibik ng Pilipinas, a plea from the Philippines na pinagwalang bahala ng Espanya na sabi niya matanda ng Spain, di na niya kaya, matagal na sila rito, di na niya kayang tulungan ang Pilipinas. Okay. And further, he wrote the Kadakilaan ng Diyos or the God's Goodness, where he published in Barcelona, Spain. Okay. It was like a catechism, but sarcastically aimed against the parish priest, but also contains philosophies of the power and intelligence of God and an appreciation for and love for nature. Okay? So ano yun? Anong sinasabi niya? Na okay, so sinasabi niya na dito sa parang itong doctrine, pagka sinabing catechism kasi, ito'y doktrina, no? Yung doctrines ng isang church, catechism. So pagtuturo ng doktrina. So dito naman ay ginawa rin ni Marcelo del Pilar na ito'y pinupoint out niya na napakabait ang Diyos, napakabuti ng Diyos. Okay? Pero ang nangyari, ang sabi niya, ang Diyos ay ginawa niyang pantay-pantay mga tao, pero nangyari, naging slave, naging alipin ng mga Filipino. So, yun ang naging tema ng sinulat ni Marcelo del Pilar na ito, Kadakilaan ng Diyos. Okay? So, because of that, natawag natin na somehow medyo may failure sa part ng propaganda movement. Nag-stop siya or hindi siya masyadong naging matagumpay during that time because yung financial support na nanggagaling sa Pilipinas ay dahan-dahan na nawala. So hindi na kayang suportahan ng mga expatriate sa Europa yung kanilang ginagawang propaganda movement. Kasi yung propaganda movement nila doon sa Europa was not only addressed to the Filipinos in the Philippines but also addressed to the European countries upang suportahan nila at i-pressure nila ang Spanish government to give now to the Philippines that independence. Okay? And another thing, the propaganda movement at time was due to leadership crisis, meaning sino ang maglilid? No? Marami silang matatalino. So wala silang identified na kumbaga pinaka-central na leader nung panahon na yan. Okay? And with the failure of the propaganda movement, so sabi nila, walang mangyari sa propaganda movement natin. Yung labanan na ang ginagamit ay papel at ballpen. Sabi nila, papel at panulat lamang. So walang nangyari. Kaya kung sa pamagitan ng kapayapaan ang nais niyong reforma, walang mangyayari. So because of that, it led now to the patriotism of Andres Bonifacio na kinakailangan ng armed conflict. And he founded the Katipunan. Okay? So again, as the concluding thoughts, I'm sorry for the wrong spelling. And the concluding thoughts, nationalism is simply love of country with all its inhabitants. So hindi mo lang mamahalin ang bansa, kundi pati lahat ng mga tao sa bansa. And nationalism is state of awareness that a nation does exist and is made of people who owe allegiance not only to a tribe, clan, or region, nor to any religious or political entity. Okay, so you are going to owe allegiance to the entire nation as well as to the people residing in that nation. Okay. So again, in the 19th century, that was the birth of the Philippine nationalism because those were the times Okay, that expatriates or yung mga edukado na mga Pilipino ay nakarating sa Europa at namulat sila sa mga nangyayari sa buong mundo. And sabi nila dapat magkaroon din ng reforma sa Pilipinas tulad ng democracy na nangyayari sa Europa. Okay, during the time kasi naglabasan ng democratic government that time in Europe. So sabi nila dapat may democracy sa Pilipinas, dapat walang pakialam ng mga pari sa Pilipinas. Okay? So people of the nation became united and worked together for common aims, and they wanted to be independent of Spain. Okay? Okay. So those are the most prominent events that somehow contributed to the spirit of nationalism and patriotism to the Filipino peoples. Of course, there are other events or people who might have contributed, but somehow those are the most prominent among them. Okay. So with that, again, thank you for listening and watching. And if you have not subscribed yet, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell. Okay. So thank you very much, and God bless us all.